Democracy and socialism have nothing in common but one word: equality. But notice the difference. While democracy seeks equality and liberty, socialism seeks equality and restraint and servitude. I know of no country in which there is so little independence of mind and real freedom of discussion as in America. Americans are so enamored of equality that they would rather be equal in slavery than unequal in freedom. The greatness of America lies not in being more enlightened than any other nation, but rather in her ability to repair her faults. When the past no longer illuminates the future, the spirit walks in darkness. Liberty cannot be established without morality, nor morality without faith. History is a gallery of pictures in which there are few originals and many copies. There are many men of principle in both parties in America, but there is no party of principle. The health of a democratic society may be measured by the quality of functions performed by private citizens. The Americans combine the notions of religion and liberty so intimately in their minds, that it is impossible to make them conceive of one without the other. The main business of religions is to purify, control, and restrain that excessive and exclusive taste for well-being which men acquire in times of equality. A democratic government is the only one in which those who vote for a tax can escape the obligation to pay it. The surface of American society is covered with a layer of democratic paint, but from time to time one can see the old aristocratic colors breaking through. There is hardly a political question in the United States which does not sooner or later turn into a judicial one. He was as great as a man can be without morality. In politics, shared hatreds are almost always the basis of friendships. It is the dissimilarities and inequalities among men which give rise to the notion of honor. As such differences become less, it grows feeble, and when they disappear, it will vanish too. We succeed in enterprises which demand the positive qualities we possess, but we excel in those which can also make use of our defects. In America, the majority raises formidable barriers around the liberty of opinion. Within these barriers, an author may write what he pleases, but woe to him if he goes beyond them. Those that despise people will never get the best out of others and themselves. There is hardly a pioneer's hut which does not contain a few odd volumes of Shakespeare. I remember reading the feudal drama of Henry V for the first time in a log cabin. Grant me 30 years of equal division of inheritances and a free press, and I will provide you with a republic. Consider any individual at any period of his life, and you will always find him preoccupied with fresh plans to increase his comfort. In no other country in the world is the love of property keener or more alert than in the United States, and nowhere else does the majority display less inclination toward doctrines which in any way threaten the way property is owned. What is most important for democracy is not that great fortunes should not exist, but that great fortunes should not remain in the same hands. In that way there are rich men, but they do not form a class. In a revolution, as in a novel, the most difficult part to invent is the end. The Indian knew how to live without wants, to suffer without complaint, and to die singing. In other words, a democratic government is the only one in which those who vote for a tax can escape the obligation to pay it. The whole life of an American is passed like a game of chance, a revolutionary crisis, or a battle. The power of the periodical press is second only to that of the people. No protracted war can fail to endanger the freedom of a democratic country. An American cannot converse, but he can discuss, and his talk falls into a dissertation. He speaks to you as if he was addressing a meeting, and if he should chance to become warm in the discussion, he will say gentlemen to the person with whom he is conversing. Nothing seems at first sight less important than the outward form of human actions, yet there is nothing upon which men set more store. They grow used to everything except to living in a society which has not their own manners. The debates of that great assembly are frequently vague and perplexed, seeming to be dragged rather than to march to the intended goal. Something of this sort must, I think, always happen in public democratic assemblies.